Hi, thanks for joining me again. I'm going to be doing another Conceptis puzzle, Pic-a-Pix, but this time I'm going to work on the color variety. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this different variant. It's for colored blocks. So the tricky part about you doing a color version of this puzzle is that when there's a color switch, there's not necessarily a definite space in between your colored blocks of numbered blocks. So for example, if you look on this block, we have a 2 and a 3 that are red, followed by a brown 2. So for red, you will definitely have a space, 1, 2, followed by a space to break up the block of 2 and the block of 3. So again, you're not going to have a block of 5, okay? But for the brown variant, you're not going to have a block between your block of 2. You could actually have a block of 2 butted up right up against the block of red 3. So that's the tricky part of doing a color variant as opposed to the black and white or single colored version we demonstrated in the previous video. So what I'm going to do is, you notice when we first came on here, we were on the red color. So when you first launch one of these puzzles, there will be a color chosen at random. It doesn't matter, you don't have to work on that color. You can choose a color, or you can just work your way through the colors available. So this puzzle has 3 colors, red, yellow, and brown. I'm going to show you a quick little logical trick. I'm going to choose brown because if you look, there are only brown colors in the lower half of the grid. Okay, so that means that in these columns that only have brown, no red or yellow, these 5 columns that only show brown, but there's no brown in any row until you get to the bottom half, you can right away block these off as definite spaces. There's no other color except brown, and brown doesn't exist until the bottom half of the grid. Same thing row-wise. You're going to see that these 3 bottom rows have nothing in them but brown. But these 4 columns over here have no brown in them. So we can right off the bat just take a look at these and block them off as definite spaces. So what I'm going to do is the same counting practice that we did before. We can start on the left and count 1, 2, 3, 4. And since the next row is the same exact thing, what we do for the top row can be done for the second row. Starting from the right now, the spaces count as borders, so we don't have to count them. We can start right here on this, I don't know what it is, blank box and count 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the 3 I can't happen to do anything with because in the 3, I know for a fact, just having done so many of these puzzles, there's no way that I can demarcate in a block of 6 where that block of 3 could be. So for example, it could be over here, or it could be as far to the right as over here. There's no overlap. And what you're looking for with the counting practice is the overlap. So we're going to go ahead and skip to the columns, okay? In the 3s, we know that these 2 are definitely blocked out, so it could be 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3. This outlier here is a definite space. Same thing with this one because it's just a repeat of the column on the left. The 4, let's count down 1, 2, 3, 4. And then count up 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now this gives me a start for counting this 3 right here. So we're going to count. Remember, here's the border of the browns. Okay. I can't space these out because there's other colors involved. But the absolute right-hand border of any brown block is over here. So we have 1, 2, 3. Now, if you count from the very edge, these 2 blocks are definitely blocked in, 1, 2, and possibly 3. these two outliers cannot possibly be anything. So we're going to go ahead and block them off. Which brings me to the 2. There's a single block in between these definite spaces. That's not big enough to hold a block of 2, so we know that's a definite space as well. So that does give me an opening to do something here with 1, 2, and 1, 2. So I know that this middle block is blocked in because the 2 could either float top 2 or bottom 2. That fills me in 1, 2, 3, 4. This row is complete. Okay. Now let's see. Is there anything that I can do here, or am I stuck? Okay. This block of 1 could be here, here, or here. Okay. Now it cannot be here because we have 3, 1, 2, 3 with a possible 4, which means this block is an outlier outside the possible involvement in that block of 4. So I can go ahead and mark it as a definite space. But that doesn't tell me if this is the 1 or if this is the 1. So I still can't complete this column. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, this is complete. So I'm just going to complete it by spacing this block out. And this tells me, here we go, 1, 2, 3, or whoops, 1, 2 is not big enough to contain a block of 3, so these are definitely spaced out. Okay, so let's go ahead and fill in this block of 1, 2, 3, and this row is done. 1, 2, which brings us back to this column, okay, and this column. This 1 is now filled in, so that is a space. This 2 is now filled in, so this is a space. Since we have now put a border right up against our block, 1, 2, 3 are filled in, and the 4th one is now filled in. Okay? The bottom number in this column is a 2. So that 2 starts here, so let's end it with going up 1. That's 1, 2. And we're, whoops, I'm trying to space that out, but I just realized that above me could be spaces or it could be a red block. So I'm going to hold that, but just keep in mind that this block right here is the edge of the brown. So we're going to come down here to this one and see if we have any more information than we did before, which we do. This is a space now for sure. So we have 1, 2, 3, and we need 4. And that completes our 1 there. And now on this row, we have 1, 2, 3. And in this column, we have 1, 2, 3. So that is a definite space. Now, as you can see, this quadrant is complete. So, and actually this top quadrant is also complete. So now we just need to work on the right-hand side of our grid. And we are completely done with the browns. So another trick or technique that I use is I look for the fewer color blocks as possible. So the first trick was outlier colors, where we only have a certain color, not mixed and matched. Now that we have intermixed colors, I'm going to work with the yellows because there seems to be fewer yellows than reds. So I'm going to start with the yellows. And so again, there's no yellow in this column at all, or this column. And there's no yellows in the top 3 columns. So I'm just going to leave that be and work in these 12 blocks right here. Okay, so I'm going to start with my biggest one, which is that 4. This is the top edge of where the yellows work. So I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, and it just turns out that there are exactly 4 blocks down that have yellow in them. And now we have 3 and 3, so we're going to work with 1, 2, 3, and there is exactly 3 columns that has yellow in them. So these are easy to do. The trick now is the 2's. Okay, so now we're just going to verify that we have 2. Yes, we do. 1, 2, and 1, 2. And how about these 1's? 1 and 1. Perfect. We are now completely done with brown and yellow, and we only have to worry about the reds. Okay, so with the reds, we're going to work our way around. So let's start with, here's an easy one. This one is 1, 3, 1. We know these are all spaces, so we're going to put, there's only one block to the left of the yellows, and there's only one block to the right of the yellows. Similar with this column, there's a brown border followed by a red, followed by yellows. Well, there's only one block for that, so that's perfect. Followed by 3 blocks of yellows and 1 block of red, and there's only one leftover block. It has to be red. So we're on a roll, but we're going to end up with a little bit of a hiccup in a second. And that hiccup is we have 3, 1, yellow 1, red 1. So 3 brown, 1 red. That's great. 1 yellow. Uh-oh. We don't know which one of these is going to be red, so I'm going to leave them blank until I have more information, and I cannot complete this row right now. So working my way up, I have 2 reds followed by 1 yellow followed by 2 reds. Perfect. Look at this. I have a block, a space of 2, so that's 2 reds followed by 1 yellow followed by 2 reds. Now, I've been doing these puzzles for a while, so even though I am systematically working my way up, I do happen to glance around and I can see that there's a 3 here in this column, and we've already completed 3, so I'm going to go ahead and mark the rest of them as spaces because we've already completed where the 3 block of red is, which again takes me back to this row that we didn't complete because we didn't know which of these was going to be red. Well, this is a space, so this has to be red. Remember we mentioned that these abutted numbers, because they are the same color, have to be broken up by a space, at least one space. So we know that's a space. So we have the 3, 1, 2, 3 space. So that leaves this one that has a 3 block, and we just so happen to have left ourselves a perfect block of 3 spaces. Perfect for that block of 3. Going back to this column, we see that we have a block of 2 remaining in red, and there's a perfect slot for it right here, and that completes this column. Going from left to right, we see that we have a 1 block here, we have a 1 block here. So we go ahead and space out the rest of it. We are done. And finally, this block of 3 goes right here. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to talk a little bit because even though we haven't blocked this spot out, as soon as I lay down my final pieces, this puzzle will be finished and we will be able to see what it is we've just made. So 1, 2, 3. It's a torch. Isn't that beautiful? So thank you again for attending this video, and we will go ahead and end that here.